Thank you so much for joining us for CBN NewsWatch on this Wednesday, December 29th, 2021. I'm Ephraim Graham. Coming up today.
Our volumes are through the roof. We're seeing records amounts of patients to the point where our hospitals are full. We have no beds.
COVID cases are still surging as many prepare to ring in the new year. We have more details on the pandemic coming up. Plus, there could be major implications for Democrats going into the midterms after Republican Glenn Youngkin won the race for governor in Virginia.
I don't think the Democrats get it, why we voted the way we did, and they're choosing to focus on extreme positions.
And multi-Grammy Award winner Zach Williams talks to us about his new Christmas album and what's coming next. All these stories and more are ahead.
This is CBN NewsWatch.
We begin this half hour with COVID-19 setting new records as the holidays march forward. Infection rates are at an all-time high, while hospitalizations and deaths climb. You can now add confusion and doubts, which are setting in after new guidance from the Centers for Disease Control has cut the COVID isolation period in half. Here's Brody Carter with our top story.
The U.S. shattered its single-day record of new COVID-19 infections with more than 441,000 cases on Tuesday. Over the holiday, scenes similar to the early days of COVID, with cars sitting in lines wrapped around cities across the nation, waiting hours for a COVID test.
Can't even go to my neighborhood drugstore. And then coming here, well, we just got shut down, saying that they're not taking any more people.
Critics say the Biden administration should have been prepared and had more tests ready to go when cold weather came. The CDC says current data is incomplete since testing sites were closed over Christmas and states are still sorting through a backlog of cases. Still, the winter surge rages on.
We have no beds. We're holding patients in the ER for multiple hours, if not days.
But recent changes from the CDC are stirring doubt and confusion. Health officials originally suggested Omicron is responsible for 73% of all U.S. cases, but significantly backpedaled that number down to 58%.
It might be because tests are still hard to come by, and that may make it even harder.
This amid criticism after the agency recommended cutting the quarantine period in half, from 10 days to 5, raising questions about people leaving isolation while still contagious and possibly spreading the virus. And with some 40% of the nation unvaccinated, large metropolitans are urging vigilance ahead of the upcoming holiday.
Omicron and Delta are coming to your party.
But there is some good news, as some analysts believe Omicron's peak may pass relatively quickly. And so far, it apparently poses only a small threat to those who are fully vaccinated. Brody Carter, CBN News.
A human check engine light. That's what one military doctor is calling a next-generation technology that could ultimately stop a future pandemic. It's actually a tiny hydrogel sensor that sits right under the skin. It was originally developed to help treat diabetes, but for the Department of Defense, it's a way to stop the spread of infection in its tracks. Our national security correspondent, Caitlin Burke, is on this story.
Investment in this kind of technology has been going on for years, all with one goal: to protect the soldiers protecting us.
What we do is we say, well, the science is interesting, but we're translating that. We're translating that into application and benefit. And it's something, frankly, I think the Department of Defense does really, really well. We can see science, but we say, we have mission. We have a national security mission.
In March of 2020, the USS Theodore Roosevelt made headlines when more than 1,000 sailors on board tested positive for COVID-19. For 2 months, the outbreak kept the ship and its crew of 4,800 sailors from their mission of defending our nation. Dr. Matthew Hepburn says he's devoted his entire career to prevent that from ever happening again.
What we want to do is detect an infection as early as possible, before someone even spreads it to another person, to try to prevent that infection in the first place so that it never happens. But if it does, we detect and treat And what we also might want to do is then make sure everybody else is protected.
That dream now appears possible thanks to this tiny hydrogel biosensor. Placed under the skin, it measures what's going on at a tissue level. For example, the amount of lactate in your body.
The level of lactate at the tissue level is a really good indicator that someone is starting to get sick. It's one of those things that we see go up pretty early in severe infection called sepsis.
The sensor doesn't identify what infection you might have. It's more of an alert. Hepburn compares it to a check engine light.
Like a check engine light doesn't say there's a problem, you're out of oil or something like that. It just says there's something wrong. There may be something wrong with your engine, so take a closer look. So the idea of the sensor is check engine light goes off, then you need to do some more specific tests to figure out if you have COVID or something else wrong with you.
This next generation technology was invented by Profusa. The private sector company created it to help treat diabetes. Now, through a partnership with the Department of Defense, the sensor has been developed for a number of other purposes. Besides detecting infection, it can also measure oxygen levels.
So you can think of like a pilot. You'd want to know tissue level hypoxia or low oxygen as an early signal that you're not getting enough oxygen to your tissues.
Currently in clinical trials, this, like all other vaccines and treatments provided by the Department of Defense, must get FDA approval. This one appears to be well on its way to that achievement. Caitlin Burke, CBN News.
Here now is a quick look at some other stories we're following for you at this hour in the CBN newsroom. The national average for gas could reach nearly $4 a gallon by Memorial Day. Those numbers are coming from the tech company GasBuddy. The company bases those claims on supply and demand and refinery shutdowns. The U.S. Energy Information Administration is showing a different forecast, saying the national average will likely drop to about $3 a gallon in January and overall by the fall just to under $2 for 2022. A UK pastor is celebrating a victory after winning a legal battle. Pastor Chizumi Dyer was fined $21,000 earlier this year for sharing the gospel on the streets during the COVID-19 lockdown. Now the court ruled in her favor and is ordering the government to pay her legal fees. She says she feels relieved and thrilled at the outcome. You can read the full story at cbnnews.com. Former Democratic Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid has died. He died Tuesday. Doctors diagnosed him with pancreatic cancer back in 2018. He served in Congress from 1983 until 2017. Reid helped President Barack Obama pass Obamacare and helped to lower the threshold for judicial nominees from 60 votes in the Senate to a simple majority, which Republicans then used to confirm President Trump's nominees to the U.S. Supreme Court. Reid once said he didn't make it in life on his good looks or because he was a genius. He made it because of hard work. The former senator was 82 years old. Coming up, Republican Glenn Youngkin won the race for governor in Virginia. So why could this pose a threat to Democrats in the upcoming midterms? We're going to explore that question when we come back. You're watching CBN NewsWatch. Stay with us. Republican Glenn Youngkin's win in the race for Virginia governor has major implications for the Democrats going into the 2022 midterms. CBN's Tara Mershiner takes a look at why Youngkin won large numbers of votes of a key constituency, suburban Democratic and independent women.
Education, it touches nearly every American household because taxpayers foot the bill. Yet rarely is it a top priority for voters, the way it became in the Virginia governor's race. As school board controversies heat up here and around the country, Republican Glenn Youngkin made it his closing argument, making gains in key groups that helped put him over the top. As expected, a close race. Although Youngkin's decisive win,
Fox News is calling the Virginia governor's race for Republican Glenn Youngkin
came as a surprise even to some members of his own party. The political newcomer winning the day against establishment Democrat and former Governor Terry McAuliffe. in a state Joe Biden carried by 10 points just 1 year ago.
Joe Biden will win Virginia's 13 electoral votes.
Voters like former Democrat Michelle Mej explains what made the difference for her.
I did not think that Terry McAuliffe was listening to anyone other than maybe a very small cohort of people that agreed with him on every issue.
Polls show Youngkin made solid inroads across party lines with women in suburban battlegrounds like Northern Virginia. Lifelong Democrat Emily Curtis never voted Republican until now.
He was running a unifying campaign. He was bringing people together. He said he wanted the forever Trumpers and the never Trumpers.
Well, many voters say they liked the campaign's positive messages, a promise to end sales tax on groceries and to cut business regulations. Most agree education proved to be Youngkin's secret sauce.
Whatever agenda is going on, we need to understand what our rights are, how easy it is to lose your freedoms, and at the forefront there was education.
I don't think parents should be telling schools what they should teach.
That now infamous statement during the last debate ended up infuriating parents on both sides of the aisle. About half of Virginia voters say they should have significant say in what their children are taught. Paula Kunwar cast her first vote in an American election for Youngkin.
I have a real issue. I have a non-verbal child. I'm my children's parent, number one. We will work together, but you're not even my co-parent. I am. I am my child's parent, and I decide what they will be educated on.
As backlash spread like wildfire in the state against curriculum, cancel culture, and pornography in school books,
we went through this whole debacle with Dr. Seuss not being available. However, when it comes to books that have actual pictures of things that I cannot describe, that's okay.
Youngkin tapped into parents' frustration.
My children's constitutional rights must be protected.
That also included school closures and remote learning.
I don't think people always realize just how bad Virginia was. We were number 44 out of 50 states. In terms of reopening.
Kay Greenwell, an independent who leans Democrat, voted straight red in November.
I voted a straight red ticket this time, and I'm not afraid to say it because I was so angry and so frustrated. I don't think the Democrats get it, why we voted the way we did, and they're choosing to focus on extreme positions.
Many parents were also happy to hear this. Under a Youngkin administration, no mask mandate.
In the current set of data that we see today, no mask mandate.
I believe that you do your research and you consent to whatever you want to do. I don't believe in mandates.
With midterms now less than a year away, many believe the race is the clearest snapshot yet of voter attitudes in Virginia and beyond.
I feel like my party is going too far left. They're leaving me. And I will remain a Democrat. I want them to come back to the center.
Meanwhile, as pundits try to make sense of Youngkin's unlikely win, backlash continues here in the Old Dominion and elsewhere as parents fume about what's being taught to their children and demand local school boards give them a seat at the table. In Loudoun County, Virginia, I'm Tara Mergener, CBN News.
Still ahead, a Christmas album with historical connections. Coming up, we talk with Christian artist Zach Williams about his new music. Stay with us.
Watch breaking news, in-depth exclusive stories and programs from health to entertainment you won't find anywhere else. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. Enjoy credible news reporting from around the world. Discover inspiring programs and stories of hope, all in one place from a Christian perspective. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. To watch the CBN News Channel, download the app or visit cbnnewschannel.com.
Welcome back to CBN NewsWatch. Two-time Grammy Award winner Zach Williams has released a new Christmas album with some historical significance. And as you can imagine, he's already at work on what's to come next. In this week's Studio 5 sit-down, we're taking a look at what was, what is, and what's to come from Zach Williams.
This is history here. It's insane. Like, Who would have ever thought we'd be recording this Christmas record at Fame Studios? I mean, man.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Excited about this or what? Crazy. This is pretty nuts.
Your knicker. There.
This is insane. It's all going to come together here in a little bit.
I don't want to take those lights down off the tree, back up the stockings to pull down the wreath. I don't want Christmas.
The album that's out now, it was recorded in Muscle Shoals?
Yes.
Tell me about that process and that studio and being able to do it there.
Well, the studio in Muscle Shoals is it's legendary. I mean, it's an iconic recording studio. It's called Fame Studios, and it was, it was kind of where Aretha Franklin found her sound. You know, there were all kinds of artists in the late 60s and 70s and 80s that recorded down there. You know, Wilson Pickett was one that I've always loved his music. And so the idea for this record was, how do we go down to Muscle Shoals and recreate those sounds and try to make it sound like it came out of that era of music and kind of keep that heritage and that sound alive.
I want Christmas to end.
I love the title track for the project because that's how I think we all feel. Tell me about I Don't Want Christmas to End.
The approach was, how do we write an original song that feels like a classic? You know, especially if we're trying to recreate a record that sounds like, you know, songs from a certain era of music. And so that was kind of the original idea, was how do we make this sound like it came out of that time period, but at the same time feel fresh and feel new. And for me, Christmas is, you know, it's a time of year where, for a lot of people, it's the one time of year where we're always together, you know, with your family. And it's also the one time of year that seems to come and go quicker and quicker every year. You know, it's like you wait all year to get to Christmas Day, and then as soon as it's over, the next day you start hearing people go, you know, it's going to be here before you know it. You know? and I've heard that all my life, but as I get older, I realize it's the truth. And you know, the idea was just, you know, let's just slow down. You know, leave the wrapping paper on your floor a little longer. Don't take your Christmas lights down the next day. And just spend some time with your family and slow down and enjoy the holidays. And turned out, I'm proud of it. I really like it.
I like it too. What's this last year been like for Zach?
You know, this past year has actually been a really good year. Coming out of a year or a season of life where we were home a lot, and then getting a chance to go back out and work and tour and be with our friends and fans. You know, we were fortunate enough in the early spring of this year to go out and play about 50 of these drive-in movie theater dates, which was really cool. You know, I would say if I see another one, it would probably be too soon because it was a little rough, you know, but it served its purpose, and we were grateful for the opportunity to do it. And then, you know, the summertime, we got back out and played festivals all summer and fairs, and it felt pretty normal. And, you know, as long as we've been able to stay healthy this year, things have felt like they're, you know, back to normal and moving along. And so it's been a great year, especially coming out of, you know, where we were in 2020.
So you've got the Christmas project done at a famous studio. You began the year with the Grammy. What are you looking forward to in 2022?
You know, I'm looking forward to getting back out. You know, it's going to be a busy year. I've got a headline tour starting in March. Ann Wilson's going to be on that tour as well. You know, just looking forward to seeing what God has for 2022. It's going to be a good year.
We'll be drawing near.
And you can catch an all-new Studio 5 this evening at 8:30 Eastern. You can find it on the CBN News Channel. And still to come, we'll tell you about a sports league dedicated to distributing Bibles, a Nutcracker performance, and the Wednesday Word. It's all coming up next, right here on CBN NewsWatch.
Breaking news, in-depth exclusive stories and programs from health to entertainment you won't find anywhere else. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. Enjoy credible news reporting from around the world. Discover inspiring programs and stories of hope, all in one place from a Christian perspective. The CBN News Channel, a perspective you can trust. To watch the CBN News Channel, download the app or visit cbnnewschannel.com.
Introducing a brand new way to start your morning. Get your daily quick start from CBN News. A quick read on the important news of the day delivered right to your inbox. Stay current on breaking news, politics, and entertainment. Discover how God is moving around the world and here at home. Plus, get exclusive stories and daily scripture encouragement just for you. Stay informed. Go to QUICKSTART.news and subscribe today.
I want to take you to Richmond, Virginia right now, where a time capsule from the 19th century was opened Tuesday. Inside, a Bible and other books, documents, money, ammunition, and other artifacts, including an image from an 1865 issue of Harper's Weekly. The capsule is believed to have come from the year 1887. Dozens of Richmond residents may have contributed about 60 objects to that capsule. The Fellowship of Christian Athletes is known for sports camps and fields of faith events, but it's also dedicated to sharing God's Word through Bible distribution. In 2021, it handed out more than 208,000 Bibles. The ministry has distributed Bibles both in the U.S. and around the world, and it's been doing that for many years. A traditional performance of the Nutcracker delighted audiences in Moscow. It is performed during the Christmas season and continued here in Bolshoi Theater despite the COVID-19 pandemic. For safety, people were required to show proof of vaccination or a negative test result. The Nutcracker debuted in Russia in 1892 in St. Petersburg. And that is going to do it for this edition of CBN News Watch. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you right back here, same time tomorrow. Bye-bye, everybody.